Hey guys, Matt here with episode 44 of the Chocolate Croissants podcast. Thank you for listening. Our guest this week is my very good friend, Mr. Eric Willis, who is also my tattoo artist. And coincidentally, our sponsor for this episode and a bunch of the upcoming episodes are our very good friends over at Nata Tattoo. Welcome back, guys. It's good to have you on board again. For those that don't know, Nata Tattoo is a certified all-natural, all-vegan, and all-organic tattoo care brand. Their renowned tattoo care kit covers all steps from how to treat and protect your fresh tattoos to how to keep them healthy and looking great even when they are fully healed. So it is great to have them on board. Nata Tattoo are actually going to be showing their stuff at the upcoming and following tattoo conventions over the next couple months. And we'll talk about this more in the coming episodes. But if you are in Philadelphia or in the near area and you're headed to the Philly Tattoo Convention, you can catch them February 9th to 11th at the Villain Arts Philly Tattoo Convention. If you are going to be at the Natural Products Expo West, which is the sister event that we met the guys at Nata Tattoo at on the East Coast, that takes place March 9th through the 11th out on the West Coast. So check that out. We'll have some more of these events to talk about in the coming weeks. But for now, if you are in the Philadelphia or overall greater Pennsylvania, Mid-Atlantic area and want to check these guys out, please head over to the Villain Arts Philadelphia Tattoo Convention and look for Nata Tattoo. So just briefly to let you guys know, Justin and I met the folks over at Nata Tattoo while we were attending, as I mentioned, the Health Expo East when it was here in Baltimore a few months back. And we had a chance to speak with Christy, who's the company's founder, and we were happy to learn that Nata Tattoo is a family company that she started because she was in search of the best products for her own children's sensitive skin. And she initially started her company Pure Botanical, which offered luxury bath products that were natural, safe, organic, and would not damage or harm your skin or other people's, or specifically her own children's sensitive skin. And as her kids got older, they started getting tattoos. She wanted to make sure that there were products out there to help keep the tattoos and their skin nice and healthy and fresh. So she did some research, put together Nata Tattoo as her new company, and now offers the best all-natural tattoo care products on the market. What I love about this company is that they really care about family. They are dedicated to the message behind things, so and that's the reason why they're working with us. They really found value in the content that we were putting out in these different episodes that we've been releasing through the Chocolate Croissants podcast medium, and we are very, very thankful to have them on board. These guys are huge into philanthropy. Their goal has always been to create authentic products that work, and it's been built from a foundation of a mother's love, and we couldn't get behind them more for that. So Christy, Nick, and everybody else at Nata Tattoo, thank you for getting behind us. We are more than happy to have you guys on board as a sponsor. So whether you have existing tattoos or you're in the process of getting fresh ones now, I would highly recommend giving Nata Tattoo a try. They've been kind enough to provide the Chocolate Croissants listeners, that would be you, with a discount code that gets you 25% off any of their products in their online store. So simply visit natatattoo.com. That's spelled NATATAT2, the number 2.com, and you can use the code all caps chocolate25, all one word, at checkout. You can also check them out on Instagram at Nata Tattoo, and that is NATATAT2 on Instagram. And once again, your discount at natatattoo.com is chocolate25. Now, without further ado, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to bring you the episode that you've been waiting for. This is episode 44 with my tattoo artist, Mr. Eric Willis. He's got some great stuff to share. He's a funny motherfucker. He talks about his career as a tattoo artist, talks about his career as a professional dancer and dance instructor, and digs into a ton of really, really good stuff that I would consider to fall into the category of life lessons that we can all benefit from learning about and listening to him talk about. So again, I'm going to shut up. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your ears. And please enjoy episode 44 of the Chocolate Croissants podcast with Mr. Eric Willis. You can find him on Instagram right now at Drilled by Willis. Enjoy episode 44. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, Matt here. Welcome to episode 44 of the Chocolate Croissants podcast. I'm here with Jordan Goodman and Justin Goodman.
Yes.
That's what you got?
That's what I got, man. I'm here.
All right, cool. And then our guest tonight is a very longtime friend of mine, someone who has put me through a lot of pain, but then given me a lot of pleasure. Wink, wink.
Whoa.
Who I met back when I was living in Pennsylvania. His name is Eric Willis. He is a very, very well-known tattoo artist. A lot of people locally in the Baltimore, Maryland, Pennsylvania region have visited him. It seems like everywhere I go, somebody's got some artwork from you on their bodies, on their dicks. And
Except Jordan and I.
other body parts as well. You've tattooed some dicks, right?
2 dicks.
Whoa, let's start there. I'm interested.
Let's start there. All right, how does that work?
Well,
Do you have to shave it?
I mean, kind of like so there's a little bit of prep work that I don't do in that situation. That's up to the client. You know, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, "Gonna need that big razor." No, no. Basically, I think there was only one serious dick tattoo. The other one was more or less like a joke tattoo. Back when I was riding motorcycles with Adrenaline Crew way back in the day, and that guy was his name's Reckless Steve.
Is this like Metal Militia?
Basically, I guess when Adrenaline Crew, I guess it was more or less like Jackass on wheels. That's how Kenny would say it. And but we did a lot of stupid, stuff.
Wasn't that tattoo your name here?
Yeah. So basically, in a sense, we were at the tattoo shop one night, obviously getting some drinks in, and Reckless Steve was like, "I want to tattoo my dick," and I was like, "All right, go ahead," and I set it up for him. And then it was so funny because like we were just sitting there, and I was like, "You won't," like these are the things you would never expect to see. And like so, he's sitting there holding his wingle, his dong, his wing dinghy.
Is he a tattoo artist?
No,
Just
no.
a guy who's
He's
ready to
just a guy,
tattoo his
yeah.
wiener.
And he didn't care. I mean, it was Reckless Steve. He was reckless. Anyway.
So, like, where did this happen?
Yeah, top, bottom.
It was on the top of his shaft. Basically, so he was about to do it, and we were sitting there, and like everyone was sitting in anticipation, and you could see in Steve's hand, like his hand was just like shaking, like the nerves are just like, and I was like, dude, you're gonna mess it up. Just it was funny because I had no intentions of tattooing his dick that night, but I was just saying, I was like, you're gonna mess it up. Just let me do it. And so, you can actually see that on video. I think in Adrenaline Crew 4, you can see me on video tattooing Steve's penis.
Is that on YouTube at this point?
I don't know if it's on YouTube. I mean, I know they have. I know those teasers for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the actual scene is on YouTube though.
Is it on Pornhub?
I don't know.
No, but you guys produced videos at the time, like Steve-O was putting out, and like a lot of the Jackass guys.
Yeah, basically, we rode. So there's Tattoo Dan and myself. We were the tattoo artists of the groups. We rode, but we didn't ride as heavy as those guys. Like those guys were doing super crazy stunts, high speed stunts. They got arrested multiple times. Actually, it's so funny because when I started hanging out with Dan, I think Dan and I met over a beer pong table. Within the first week, we were living and working together, and I think I had about $1,400 in fines within the first week, and that's how like our relationship started off. And then, we did all the filming. We did so much filming in the tattoo shops. We did so much filming, and it was actually kind of cool because like as being a young guy, you're like, anyway, you bring out a video camera, and like people are gonna do some stuff. Like they're like. It's kind of like back then. It was like, this was before like do it for the Vine. Like you're just stupid. You're like, this is gonna be on a DVD. I'll do anything.
Right.
Sacrifice my life.
Right.
I think Jordan can relate to this because literally, like, he spent years of his life with one friend, just videotaping
Like
everything.
middle school and high school.
And college.
Well, in college we had a band, so it made sense to create content before there even was like a YouTube or a Facebook where you could easily upload stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, we used to go to like the mall with a camcorder.
Yeah, and it took effort though. Like to do anything. Like you had to. Well, I just got into droning now, and it's so funny because you have all this time, and you're like, oh, you can get so many shots, but you're really limited to the times because you're like you have 20 minutes of flight. So like to do this and that, you're like, you have days where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, but like if you're actually trying to film something, actually, produce something, you know, like you have 20 minutes of time, set up, where's your sun at? You know, like what's the best colors in the sky or whatever, you know, like you have to think about shadows, everything. It has so much to do with that, you know. So to do good production, yeah, you got to do all types of stuff.
A lot of planning involved. But so going back for a second, speaking of Tattoo Dan, you guys are still good friends.
Oh, yeah.
And you're about to travel the world. Well, not travel the world. You're about to travel all over Asia with him on motorcycles.
Yeah, I'm going to be going.
So not much has changed.
Oh, no, I hang out with Dan all the time. Like Dan, I probably see Dan more than anybody. And I probably get to see Dan maybe once or twice a year. But when we do see each other, like it's for, you know, at least 2 weeks. Well, this one's a big trip. This is probably the biggest trip I've done with Dan. So fingers crossed on that.
What kind of bikes are we talking about?
So Dan and I got F800 GS's the Adventure model, but the Beamers. So it's basically a dual sport motorcycle. Did I say it's a Beamer? I'm so super high class. False Bimmer. I got a Bimmer.
Good
Watch
for
out,
you.
ladies.
Good for you and your Beamer.
Congrats.
But wait, but you have a couple automobiles. I mean, you have the Jeep.
Well, I mean, cars are cars, but I have a 1966 Lincoln Continental. I have a Jeep Wrangler. I have a 1965 Ford Econoline. I mean, those are cars wise. I mean, I'm not collecting cars, but you know, like I like them. My next dream car would be a 1959 Buick. It's gonna be hot.
All right.
But I got the sailboat as well, and stuff like that. You know, gonna do some things. Gonna do some things before I die.
Well,
That's good.
speaking of doing things before you die, and I don't want to get too far away from it. So you talked about Reckless Steve. That was the joke penis tattoo.
Yes.
But you said there was a second one that I'd assume was not a joke.
All right. So the second one, which would be my first dick tattoo ever, was on this guy Al, and he was a gay dude, super nice guy. And he had this tribal on his lower stomach. And so basically, if you want to talk about leading lines on where they go on the body, and like you see, oh, tribal on the stomach. Oh, where's it go? It was great. And it was funny because like that was like super, you know, like I was like also these tattoos were done like years ago, like you know like 10.
Like before I met you.
Yeah, I mean I'm saying like it was a long time. So I was
Are you
like,
saying like the quality wasn't as good?
no, the quality was fine. It was just funny because like at that time I was still like a very young. I was so young. I was probably 21, 22 at the time, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, hell, this was before I had throat tattoos. So yeah, it was a long time ago. And it was so funny because like you know you sit there and like a lot of times when it comes to like to tattoos like the tattooing dicks and shit, you know, like it's like I don't care, I'll do it. Because that's one for the books. Like that's something I'll talk about constantly. Be like, oh, and this one time, you know, like they're just stories you share.
This is how you lead your first podcast interview.
Yeah, it's dick tats.
8 minutes in.
Great way to lead it. It's great icebreaker. Our listeners will hopefully get a kick out of this.
Do you charge extra?
He charges less.
Well, I'll be honest, Steve's I did for free. Al's wasn't anything too crazy. Like I said, like honestly, like that tattoo probably only took like an hour because we had the tribal already on his lower stomach, and like you know it was more or less you know like just to connect, and I went down the shaft just a little bit, so it wasn't anything crazy. And honestly, at this sense too, you're like, you know, that's you know I didn't really care at the time because like I said, that was a story, you know, that was a story to tell, and so you know like any venture that you do, you know like. When people talk about it, they hear about it, they're like, well, shit, I wanna do that. And you know, like, so like, you know, it's something to brag about, something to get your name out. So it was just like, yeah, I'll do a, you know, a Bangor tattoo, just, you know, like to, you know, have somebody, you know, people you want to buzz, you know, to make you buzz, you know? So like, that's another thing for people to talk about, you know, and just be like, oh my God, you hear this? I'm like, fuck yeah.
That's funny. Well, I remember when I met you, we were at, what was the bar in York?
Was the karaoke one?
Yeah.
Hold on.
I was jamming upstairs. I feel like
Matt,
Cobblestones.
it was Cobblestones.
Yes.
Yeah. So we met at Cobblestones, and we met because there was one of your friends has the Never Ending Story tattoo.
Yes, Troy Miles.
Yeah.
What up, Troy?
Yeah, Troy had like Falcor going down his arm, and the way that it was done, I thought was awesome. I'd never seen a tattoo like that in person ever, like the way that you didn't do line work. That's what I noticed. And then I asked him, I was like, "Hey, like, who does your work?" And he was like, "This guy." And you were definitely drunk, and you were playing up like pretending to be Australian at the time. Like,
Can we get a taste of that?
all right, mate. See, like, listen, what you're talking about is like, so when I came over the pond, you know, like, I don't know. It's like, it's actually
the
quite
pond,
funny.
The pond is
I know.
Britain.
No, but I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's actually quite funny because, like, you know, like,
But like most people probably have no idea.
No,
Yeah.
well, it's funny because, like, actually, there's a funny story with the tattoo shop. There was this, well, I'll call her by our nickname. I don't really know what her name is, but we always used to call her Psycho Bitch because she had Psycho Bitch tattooed on her arms.
I remember her.
And
I
she
think-
was,
Wait, was I around for that?
I don't know. I mean, this is back in Hanover days, so this is like a good bit ago. But anyway, so it was like so funny. So like she would always come in, and she wasn't, you know, all veil, you know, and she's like, where's that one guy, that Australian boy? And so like, you know, like my coworker Justin, he's like, oh, he's got this like really raspy voice, and he's like, oh, yeah, he got deported, you know, like his visa went out, you know, he got you know, he had to go back. And like within 5 minutes later, I walk in the door. He's like, "Oh, I guess he got back." it was like that was a great shot for Street Walk. Like anybody that came in, like they had so many different people.
But I mean, I got tattooed by you at that shop, but that was when you went back there, right? That wasn't
That
your
was
first-
after, because I did York for a while, then I traveled for a bit, then I did California, then I came back, and then. So it was a lot of traveling then. That was back when I used to do like 2 months on, 1 month off, 2
Right.
months on. So I would, you know, work 2 months and travel somewhere for a month and tattoo and then do whatever whenever, which I slowed down from.
When did you start that lifestyle?
I guess, I don't know. Once I realized I could. You know, like, it was funny. Like I guess when I was younger, it was like one of those things, all you cared about was doing tattoos. Well, all I cared about anyway. And I would sit there and, you know, like, yeah, I'd walk, you know, 4 10-hour days, and if I wasn't at the tattoo shop, then I was at another tattoo shop, or I was there, and then like, you know, like I used to walk 4 days a week, and then I used to walk 7 days a week, and then I just continued to walk 7 days a week, and you know, even if I have cancellations now, I'll actually, you know, just go to another tattoo shop, just pop my head in. You know, I was at a tattoo shop yesterday, you know, just saying hi, you know, because I was over in Columbia, you know, so, you know, tattooing is something that's always been there, and I've always enjoyed. If it wasn't what I was doing, it was definitely like what other shops are doing, and you know, just keep it on the same plane. You know,
Take it back to the beginning of the story. At what age did you decide tattooing was your thing?
Well, basically, I guess I started tattooing when I was in high school. I was 17, and I don't know. I guess I mean, it was always kind of like my thing from 17. I've only had 2 jobs, like 2 legit jobs. And I was a dance instructor and a tattoo artist. And the other job that I had was like a stock boy at Getty, but I don't really consider 4 months being a job. That was like a summertime thing. But yeah, when I started tattooing, it all basically, I had a choice. I had a choice of being you know, professional dancer, and then I had the choice of being a tattoo artist. And if you look at professional dancing, you really only have a certain amount of time, and then your body starts giving out, and you know, like you don't have knees anymore, and you don't have ankles, and then tattooing was it. Like once I stopped my ballroom, I'm like so cool, guys. I swear to God.
Oh wait,
Wait,
you
so
were
you're
doing, you were doing
ballroom
ballroom
dancer?
dancing. You were doing what
Well, yeah,
else?
I wasn't. So I taught hip hop, funk, street, break, jazz, gymnastics, theater arts, lifting, and adagio. Basically, but my partner Alex and I, we did adagio, which is like what they do on ice skating, but in ballroom. So it was like all lifts, and Alex was awesome. She was a sweetheart. We danced probably, I think I started dancing with her when she was 10. So we won nationals 4 years in a row. And then when she finally turned 18, we went pro. But that's when the actual dancing stopped because she went off to college. And then I was very spiteful about that, you know?
Was this before or after? And you know, tell me if you don't remember these references. But Wade Robson had his own show on MTV. He was the choreographer like NSYNC and Britney Spears and whatnot. Spiky blonde hair guy, and he looked like the dude that was in You Got Served. Remember that movie?
I want to say, I mean, I do remember the movie. I want to say that this was before that for sure.
Because I would feel like that may have given you more of an umph to say like, oh, maybe I can pursue this if I do choreography.
I mean, with dance, like you really have to stand out like crazy. And I mean, like, and if you're that passionate about it, it's great. But if you really think about it, like I think like when it came down to it, I was going off of like incomes. You know, like I was like, oh well, if you're like unless you're like all doing choreography, Britney Spears and
Yeah,
Christina
something
Aguilera,
major.
like huge like that, you're not doing anything crazy. Like I mean, maybe 35, 40 a year, and I didn't want to stop there. And to be honest, and you're dealing with classes of 10 to 20 13-year-old kids.
Right, and you got to
So-
deal with the parents, and then
Oh, yeah.
and to be successful, you'd really have to have like a school.
Yeah, you would want to have a studio, so you
Right.
could make money off of uniforms. You could make money off of competitions. You can make a lot of money if you have your own studio, but that's that.
But
Right.
at that young age, when you started taking dance seriously, was it a parent that suggested it? Were you naturally attracted to it?
I mean, I danced all the time. Like I was a breaker, I thought breakdancing was cool. So I got basically it all started High School Musicals. There was a girl that I had a crush on, and she asked me if I was gonna be in the musical, and of course I was like, no. And then she was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, well, if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. No bigs.
And that turned into a possible career path.
No, and it was what was funny about it because I had natural talent, and then the lady who was doing the choreography for the plays and musicals, that was Mary Mock. She owned MGM Dance Studios in Shrewsbury, and she was like, well, hey, like we're looking for male dancers, for co-ed dances and so on and so on. If you'd like to do it, it's free, and so I'm all about that free wagon, So I did it, and then that same year I was doing competitions, winning competitions, and then I started instructing that same year too. So it was a lot different. It was cool. I enjoy dance. I don't really dance much anymore because I feel like at the time I was in like competition groups and I took dance very serious. Like I put 2 holes in the studio's walls. That was actually a funny story. Miss Mary would appreciate this, but it was like so funny. We were going through the class and I got frustrated and I punched a hole through the wall. And of course, like that came out of my, like my paycheck and stuff. And but she was like, she whipped me up and she's like, "What do you want to do?" It's like, it makes me think of Dazed and Confused. I was like, I want to dance.
I just want to dance.
But it was a very real moment. But like now, when I look at it now, I was like, stupid.
So this is a good opportunity for a question. We take questions from those in our private Facebook group.
Okay.
And for those listening who don't know about it, facebook.com/groups/chocolate croissants. We're nearing 1,600 members, and usually every week we open it up to all of you to ask questions to our guests. And Bruce Palmer from Lowell, Massachusetts, which is a longtime home of Ring of Honor, he asks, were you always artistically inclined? And he's interested, do you work or are you interested in working with other mediums?
I would have to say that I was always artistically inclined. I'm definitely a Renaissance guy. Love music, love poetry, obviously poetry, lyrics, everything like that. Singing was always fun. Dancing was always there. I remember drawing from a very, very young age. I have to give my mom credit for that too. She was an artist as well. She did a lot of pottery. She did a lot of clay sculpting, stuff like that. That was her jam. And so she always pushed me to do whatever. I had plenty of art supplies every Christmas. And but I realized I was good at drawing probably like 6th grade. I did a really sweet picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because he was like, he was the shit back then, And but that was definitely one of those things. And yeah, like medium wise, I don't really do too many other mediums anymore. Once my day's done, I'm done. I don't, it's just work. If I had more free time, I'd probably dabble more. But since I've been working pretty much steady all the time, I haven't done much. I just kick back and relax my back, and then.
So talking about working 7 days a week, it seems like you have been that way now for
at least a decade
since I've known you.
Yeah.
And I think you and I met in 2005. I'm pretty sure, probably 2005. So it's been close to, 13 years of knowing each other, working, you working on me off and on for that period of time. And since I've known you, you've been that busy.
Yeah, it's just I grind. I mean, I go on, no business. You know what I'm saying? No, I just you know, like it's quite funny because like when you have different things, you have like so many ideas of what you can possibly do. It's a very competitive field also. For instance, like you know, like being self-employed, you know, either I can get money from my client or I could push that off and they could give the money to somebody else. So like instead of you know like having the day off, you know, it's like all right, have the day off, we'll make a couple $100. I'm gonna walk.
So
You know?
yeah, and I know you've talked to me about that sort of drive, that voice inside your head, where it's like when you have the opportunity to have a day off, it's like, do I want to have a day off, or should I put out there like, hey, I have an opening? And typically, I see you do that, where you'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm open, quick, fill it up.
Unless I have plans, unless I have like a go-to fallback or whatever, you know, it's like, all right, what am I gonna do on a day off? Oh, I could do laundry. Oh, I could sit and watch TV. It's like that's what I'm gonna do tonight. You know what I mean? So I just don't want to waste the day.
Yeah.
You know, and days off are expensive. I was just at REI yesterday.
Climbing?
No, I was buying stuff for the trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Freaking $700 some odd dollars.
That's different though. You're going on like a 2-3 month
I don't care.
trip.
I don't care.
So wait, so if you didn't take a day off, you wouldn't have spent the money.
Exactly.
Would you
I
not
would've-
have shit to take with
You would
you
have
on this
made
trip? You just said whatever.
You would have made that.
I would have made more money, but I know I was like, you know, I'm down to the last week here in the States before I head. And now I was like, all right. So I went through like a little panic mode, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, I only got a week left.
I need
Like, oh,
everything.
You know, and then like, you know, you just sit there and you're like, well, what if? And I was like, gonna go like so simplicity on this trip. I'm like, I'm gonna take a pair of shorts, 2 pairs of pants, and like 5 t-shirts. And, you know, then you're like, well, what if that's not enough? You know, like, cause like we're going through so many different climate changes over there. So it's like, I was like, you know, fantasizing like, oh shit, I'm gonna be there on this motorcycle with my board shorts from 19 whenever. You know, I got these like, you know, like knee-high boots, looking like an idiot. And I was like, all right, well, I gotta do some things. So it was some impulse buys, but you know, I got some stuff. And thank you, REI.
So I to change the subject a little bit, I do have a question for you that's back directed back towards your work, and I think we've talked about this privately, but I'm curious about, and I think other people would be curious about this. So when you work 7 days a week, you have clients that are coming to you and they're saying, "Hey, Willis, I want this tattooed." Mm-hmm. Now I'm sure there's a handful, if not maybe more, of these tattoos that you're like, "Fuck yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm stoked about tattooing this." But do you ever really get an opportunity to express something that you're really into, or like exercise that creative muscle of your own from a point of inspiration on a client who's willing to let you do that?
Well, it's always strange. So when I started tattooing, I was still in high school. So in high school, we had projects. So you had projects of like, okay, we'll draw this or draw that. And then once I actually got into tattooing, then you had more projects because, you know, like you're facilitating for your client. Every now and then, and I feed off of that too as well because, you know, like even though like, you know, some people like are like, oh, well, it's your artwork, you should do whatever you want. But I'm not the one wearing it. You know what I mean? So I really have to, you know, focus on my clients' needs and what they actually want and, you know, hopefully live up to their expectations. I kind of... It's funny too, but at the same time, I wish in a sense I was more of a risk taker. You know what I mean? Not like risk taker, but you know, like where I'd like trying to like force my will on somebody more. But at the same time, you know, like a lot of things I'd love to tattoo, I would almost have to like give away. You know, and like you have to have a like specific type of clientele for that. But you know, like
the tattoo on my leg that we've never finished.
Yeah, leg tattoos help, man.
What is that tattoo, Matt?
It's an Ami mask, right? Ani mask?
Yeah, it's a Japanese Ani mask
On your calf?
on my calf that I think I came over. It was when you were tattooing at the house in New York. I came over and I don't remember what we were supposed to do. We were sitting around hanging out and you were like, I kind of want to tattoo this thing. And I just volunteered. I was like, oh, you can do it. Do it on my leg. And I didn't know how painful for me it would be to get a calf tattoo. And I mean, some people have higher pain tolerance in different parts of their body. For me, that was definitely the most painful tattoo that you've ever done on me.
I think a lot of guys will agree with you there. I think it's quite funny because you can sit there and you're like, all right, you know, like legs. I mean, as guys, you know, like for instance, we don't shave our legs. You know, like usually we always have pants on. Like they're not exposed to the elements. The skin itself is tight. I remember when I was getting my calves tattooed, and my coworker Kaylin was tattooing me, and I could do nothing but laugh about it. And I was like, in a blowed out state, I was like, "You're not even moving it." What I mean? It just felt like she was just digging in the same spot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ugh. But it's it's one of those things. I know a lot of guys that don't like getting their calves tattooed or legs in general, but some people don't mind. I don't know.
Is there something lately that you've been really excited about to tattoo? Or have there been any of the ideas that you've had where you've been able to put it on somebody?
I don't know. I actually did a pretty sweet nun the other day. My boy Steve.
Oh, from The Conjuring?
The Valak. Oh, yeah, Valak.
Valak.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because like we were sitting there and so obviously we did one sleeve and now we're doing. I think the more and more tattoos you get, the less you care about what you get. You just want more of them.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that for Steve. I mean, obviously, but we're working on his arm and so we're putting all this stuff together on his arm. He's like, look at this. I was like, oh, that'd be dope. And like sure enough, our appointment came by and he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, just do it. And I was like, and he was just like, all right, let's do it. And of course, he's like, I think he has like a 4 and 2 year old or 2 and 3 year old child. And he's got this pretty gnarly, looking nun on him.
It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's dope. It's dope. But like as a kid though, you see that and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I've scared some kids with the work we've done on my right arm for sure.
Heck yeah.
It's
good.
The first one that we did on that arm, that's a kind of an interesting story. So you were in LA and you got asked to tattoo at a nightclub. Remember that?
Oh my gosh. That was a long time ago.
How long ago was that? 2006?
I have no idea. I completely forgot about that. I remember
Well, we were both
gosh.
we were both in LA at the time, and if I recall, you got asked to be. You were part of the entertainment. Like in this nightclub, there was an area that was sectioned off, and
it's like a VIP section. That's where we tattooed.
Section. Right, you were tattooing, but you hit me up and you were like, "Listen, I don't want to tattoo some rando that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that's going to go down. If you come out, I'm not going to charge you, and we can do something, whatever you want." And at the time, I was reading a lot of those like vampire, like 30 Days of Night.
Can't hate it, man.
Books. Yeah, it was
awesome books. Awesome movie
cool.
too.
But still to this day, I think that
what
is
can be broken must be broken.
it's my favorite tattoo still. And we only got the black and white done or black and gray done at that night, but you got the whole outline done, and then I think I met up with you back at home afterwards.
Put some more
to
color
finish
in,
it.
yeah.
But that's probably my favorite tattoo by you.
It does look good. I like it.
Thank you.
Do you have good pictures of these you can share?
I think you have a picture of that one on your Instagram.
I don't even know. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
If you were to do the pieces that you want to do, what kind of stuff would you do?
All right. Well, I'm such a sucker for classic 80s and 90s like underdog movies. So I don't know. I want to do Chunk. I want to do Chunk from the Goonies doing the Truffle Shuffle. That like to me that's like an emotional tattoo, and like that's like fuck yeah.
Someone listening is going to definitely.
That's what I'm
hire
thinking.
you
I know
for this.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and there's another thing too as well. And then from the movie The Sandlot, when they finally get the ball, and there's like I think it's all 8 or 9 of them down, and they're like the ball's looking back at them, and you see like all the faces are like that was like a really great shot. I'd love to do, and I don't know like
I feel like so many people want to get
Yeah, but-
spits, right?
well squints.
Or squints
Squints.
rather. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
tattooed-
I feel like a lot of people like to get those
Yeah.
tattoos.
Well, he did make out with Mary Pumpernickel or whatever her name is.
Wendy.
Wendy. Oh, okay, Wendy.
That was some fucked up shit he pulled at the pool, right?
I don't care, man. That's Moxie. That was awesome. just think of like all like the girls like back in the day, like if I only did that, if I only took that chance, and fucking he did it, man. And like just him at the little diving board with his little buckle knees, like fucking like.
And he ended up marrying her.
Yeah, I know. They had like
story.
7 kids. Or
Right.
something, They had their own baseball team themselves.
Yeah.
So
it's
that's
perfect.
awesome. Yeah.
He took the chance.
Matt, if you had to get one of the guys, which one would you get?
From the Sandlot,
Yeah,
I would get the dog.
the
Zeus.
True.
Zeus.
I
Yeah,
would get Zeus.
Jordan.
I'd probably get the only one that sticks out is like the fat ginger kid.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, the
Right,
catcher.
you
The
play
catcher.
ball like a god.
The great
kid from-
Hambino.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
the dude from The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Or not that. No, from Son-in-Law.
Yeah. He's the brother and son-in-law. I wonder. A lot
His
of our
face
listeners
still looks the same, by the way.
A lot of our
Does.
listeners
It's great.
are younger. So if you guys haven't seen these
Sandlot,
movies like
yeah.
Son-in-Law, Sandlot, The Goonies, definitely check that out because this is all part of
Heavyweights. Check out Heavyweights.
Heavyweights.
Heavyweights is a great one.
That's
I don't know.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
The camp counselor.
Tony Perkins.
And what is that other one? What was that football game? The football one.
Little Giants.
Little Giants.
Yeah, Little Giants.
Intimidation. Yeah, I mean, like they were just.
Icebox.
Yeah, for me there was just like so many good movies back then. Like when movies were still like movies, and they still had like they still had everything that they wanted to do or could do. You know what I mean?
Have you done any Stranger Things tattoos?
No, not yet.
I mean, does that
Hold on,
does
wait,
that
have
speak
I?
to you? 80s nostalgia?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a great TV show.
I'd be surprised if you haven't, but
Well,
I'm sure it'll come.
It's one of those things, like I can only when it comes to walking, like I can only do what's asked of me. You know what I mean? Like I really can't like put something out and be like, "Hey guys, I'd really like to." I mean, like that is just like I don't know. It's I wouldn't feel like asking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see how that'd be a little gauche, but then again, there's certain friends I think.
Well, I mean, I tattooed squints on an ass.
You did?
Yeah, my boy James.
Heck yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Did you
That on
post
the
that
Instagram?
Did you post
Yeah,
that
that's on
your-
Instagram.
I think I saw that,
It was
yeah.
funny because he actually like mooned the camel when he was on TV, and then like I had to repost it. It was
For those listening right now, Instagram, it's Drilled by Willis.
Yes.
Willis.
Yep,
Drilled by Willis on Instagram.
Really incredible work.
it's all right.
It's pretty decent. Pretty
You know,
decent.
I was talking yesterday about how creatives are typically their own worst critics. And I don't think ever once in the time that we've worked together, I've heard you or seen you be like, fuck yeah, I'm so stoked on this. Never once. We finished up a tattoo and you're like, yeah, I mean, it looks all right. It looks good. I hope you're happy with it, but whatever.
I think what I say, I always say it's a start. That's something I always say. I was like, it's a start. It's a start.
Okay, so the times that we've worked together that have always been the most productive, lasted like the longest as far as the sessions go, and have been the most fun, are the times when music is a part of it. Like,
Oh, fuck.
I mean, you always listen to music,
Yeah, music's huge.
but when we've like tapped into really good records, or when you put on shit that like gets you going, that's when you work your best. And I remember when I introduced 21 Pilots to you.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, yeah, check out the lyrics, and then that was it. You were like, you were
Yeah.
hooked. But that was one of one of my favorite sessions with you because I felt like, and this is interesting for creative people. There a lot of, and I'm sure this goes for Jordan and Justin too. Like our minds can be very active. So what was interesting to me is that you're tattooing me and you're very focused on the tattoo, but your ear is focused on the lyrics
constantly.
and the melody, and you're singing and you're getting into it, and it's so multi. There's just so many things going on at once.
Well, I have ADD like no other. I can start a conversation and finish it in 2 hours. Be like, that's it. Like that's what we were talking about. Like what? I was like, you were there. Anyway, but like so many times, like, and I think like one of my biggest pet peeves is because I have so much going through my head already, and like especially when you have music on, and then I'll hear other sounds, like for instance, like cell phone rings or like text messages or like somebody's playing a video on the phone, and then I have the music in the background, and then I have what's going on in my head, and it's like so much, and you're just like, can you just put that on silent? Just put it on silent. That's
Right,
all.
it's already loud enough that
Yeah.
with the buzz of the tattoo machine too. I mean, I think.
Well,
that
the new one, I got a rotary now. It's pretty quiet.
is it. Oh, that's good.
It's like,
What else does that sound like?
That sounds good.
all the old school tattoo artists call it a dildo. It is true. It does look like a dildo.
But
That's why I call mine the bronze bullet because it's kind of copper like.
Does it work?
Yeah, it works awesome.
That's
One day it'll happen. I'll pleasure somebody with that tattoo machine. What up,
Ladies? Yeah, there you go.
What up, goal?
Ladies, pay attention. Okay, so totally different subject again, and hopefully this is cool to talk about. A lot of people don't know this about you, but you had some serious health shit go down when you were younger.
No. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Okay, but there's a reason I'm bringing this up because we've talked about this, and I know it sort of framed your state of mind. You had open heart surgery at what
Yep.
age?
I was fresh out the womb.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm basically in a sense. I was born in Hamilton, New York, airship to Albany, I had all types of heart surgery. I had 5 doctors with the name Eric. My name was already picked out before I was born. And then I had 16 medical students watching over it as well. It was a pretty big deal. Basically, yeah, I mean, lots of heart surgery. They took veins out of my legs. They flayed me open. They only cut from my Adam's apple to my belly button. They got my rib cage open. I mean, I was pretty done up. But it was cool. I don't know. It's always funny. Like one of those things that actually get me is because they told my father like, well, he's gonna die tonight. Well, he's gonna die on the operating table. And because at this time they didn't really have much to go off of, and my father was like, well, you know what? If he's gonna die fighting. And I'm like, fucking toot toot, here I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be mistaken, but did they put in a pacemaker?
Yeah, I've had a pacemaker since I was 3. So I was on medication. So basically, when I was born, I was a blue baby. So my heart beat so repeatedly that it could and also my heart is backwards. So my upper right ventricle and lower right ventricle are switched. So I had the muscle procedure, the black top procedure. So what I have is actually called the transposition of the great arteries. And so they took veins out of my legs, brought them up to my chest. Basically, they made like I guess canals in like the walls of my heart. I don't know. It was a whole bunch of shit. And so basically, I was on medication for a while, and then I got a pacemaker at 3, and I got my second pacemaker. I guess maybe in 5th or 6th. I don't know. Maybe middle school. I'm not sure. And then my second one just died when I was 21. 21. So that was 14 years ago.
Did you have to have a third surgery or
No,
another
I haven't been to Hopkins since.
So you've been fine.
I told him. It was funny. I was at the tattoo shop, and when you get excited and you're like your chest is just out to heal, and you're just like, and like my heart was like, it was like crazy, like very very different. And so I called my mom automatically because I thought I was dying, and so they were like, all right, when you're like da-da-da. So I called mom. I was like, hey, like schedule something up at Hopkins. Something's not right. Went down the next day, and they said like, all right, well, this is where your heart's beating, and this is where your pacemaker's trying to beat, and so on and so on. And I told them. At this time, I finished my bucket list of things I wanted to do. I lost my virginity. I became a tat. Yeah, I was like, fucking put it in. I'm out. No, but at that time, honestly,
bucket list of one.
I didn't have many crazy goals then. I already did a lot of the things that I wanted to do. I won nationals 4 years in a row. I became a tattoo artist. Lost my virginity to Aaron. What's up, Aaron? And hell yeah, she was hot. She still is hot. She's married and has kids. What's up? Anyway,
what's up for her kids?
Yeah, I don't know. I like her post all the time on Instagram. I like seeing her son get older. He's pretty cool. But yeah, at that time, I didn't care. I felt like, because my whole life, even through all the Hopkins things, you have surgery and as a little kid, you have no idea. I was one of those kids. When I went to the swimming pool, I never took my t-shirt off because I had all these scars on my chest. And, I didn't want to expose myself and blah, blah, blah. And then, eventually you just kind of get you don't care about it anymore. It's funny now because people are like, I never knew that. And I was like, well, I never would tell it. I would never talk about it. But, when I was younger, they were like, well, you might be, you might live to 10. You might make 15, then you make 15 and you're like, oh, well, you might make 20. And so the whole time I was like, oh, well, fuck all. I grew up with the mentality, I'm not going to live forever. You don't have this, which in a turn was a blessing, I guess, in a sense. Cause so many people oh, I'll do it next year. And I was like, I'm doing it now. I went so much stuff. And then when my pacemaker died, at Hopkins, they're like, oh, well, should we really do this? And I was like, I don't want another one. And I told them, I was like, I don't want another one. They're like, oh, well, you're young. You got so much to live for. Da-da-da. And so then they put a hot holder on me. So I had like a hot holder, which is like a giant pager. Then I had like 16 to 20 of those little sticky things. And I asked them, I was like, well, hey, can this thing get wet? And they're like, no, you shouldn't get it wet. And I was like, well, I'm going wakeboarding tomorrow at Smith Mountain Lake. Like I was like, so, like I'm taking it off, and they're like, we'll just wait for 24 hours and, FedEx it back to us, and I was like, all right, cool. So I had to write down everything I was doing. And at this time I was like, actually pretty down on myself. Cause you don't have like little sticky things all over your chest and being like, things are going good. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, things are looking up. Yeah. And, but yeah, I did that for 24 hours. Went down with my good friend Jeff down to Smith Mountain Lakes. We went wakeboarding, scarfing, and kneeboarding. We went fishing, drank beers, FedExed it back to him. I didn't hear anything. So like 2 weeks go by, and I was like, shit, I'll just call him, And because I kept anticipating on what might be. And so I finally called him, and they're like, oh, yeah, Mr. Willis. And I was like, yeah, I sent that in, you guys. You guys never got back to me. Like, oh, well, as of right now, you're looking pretty good. Come back in 6 months. And I was like, all right. So I went to Hopkins. They charged me like $1,400 to tell me that I was okay to come back in 6 months. Now, my pacemaker's still in there, but it's been dead for 14 years.
Wow.
And I haven't been to Hopkins since.
So okay. I mean, obviously, you showed them.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I think in knowing you, your mentality is still very much the same to live every day the way you want to live. And that definitely is who you are when I think of you. And I think it's now, I know for a fact, based on many conversations with you, that your bucket list is not checked off at this point. Now you have a new bucket list.
I think once you I think it's just with anything. Like once you fill your cup up, you empty it out, you give it back, and then you start again. I think one of the things, even with this motorcycle trip coming up with Dan, I never dreamed about going to Asia. Like I watched the Netflix documentary like Wild China, and I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And so we're doing this thing to Asia, and we're not even going to China. I'm like, what the hell, And I was like, but so yeah, I mean the bucket list. I mean the bucket list is kind of finished for everything that I've done, but I've changed the bucket list to fuck it list. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of things that you can possibly do, whether it be for fun or anything. So, I'm all about it. I mean, you should kind of take any opportunity that you have and experience it, whether it's good or bad, so I don't know.
I'm really glad you shared the story with your heart, because it makes your life story a lot clearer for me, especially with just having this urgency just to do the shit you want to do while you have the time here. I'm curious. So you said the scar was from your neck all the way down?
Yeah, they cut me from my Adam's apple to my belly button, which is a lot smaller now. I think that was 115 stitches when I was a kid. But now it's just it's only like this big now. Cut heel, cut heel, cut heel, cut heel, cut heel. Cut through heel.
So Willis is pretty much pointing to all areas of his torso and arms.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, was getting tattooed part of that?
No, not. I don't know. I was just thinking tattooing was cool. I mean, I'm not heavily tattooed, for nothing. I mean, I have my throat done, and I have my legs done a little bit, but I have some work on my chest, but I don't know. It's quite funny because maybe when I was a kid, I used to think about getting everything covered up, but then you also have to think too as well. If you get it covered up, but if you have to go into surgery again, then you're going to be playing oh, let's connect these lines, and it's it's not going to work out that way. To be honest, I mean if you have scars, I mean you should pretty much show them, because that's a story itself. I mean I think one of my favorite scars is on my arm, just because I wrecked my motorcycle. It's pretty sweet.
Don't a lot of people get their scars covered up with tattoos? And I've seen tons of stories of this.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think a lot of scars are insecurities to people. You know what I mean? So, especially females. If you want to go cosmetic tattooing, you have you're looking to cover your stretch marks, or you're looking to cover your tummy tuck. You're looking to cover this and that. So I mean, there's a lot of sense. it is all possible, but that's all particular for the person, So, I don't know. I think it's a little bit more difficult to tattoo over them, But yeah, cosmetic tattooing is completely different. Well, not completely different, but just another standstill of like how you want it. I've tattooed nipples. That's cool.
Is that is this like a breast cancer thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said I was the best.
Best you ever had?
Yeah.
Was that anything in association with? Is it Little Vinny who's tattooing?
Oh well, Vinny's known for it.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
was that anything to do with that?
No. Basically, I think a lot of times, like, I can see Vinny doing it. Like Vinny's been tattooing for a long time.
And he's like booked.
Full on
for people.
Yeah, he's
who
just
have
doing
had,
nipple tatties.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah, breast cancer survivors.
Yeah. And I'm props to him, man. I forget who he linked up with, but he got a good deal out of that. And the good thing, but the girl that I did, I think she got actually tattooed by our doctor. And I think when it comes down to it, everybody has their own professions and everybody has their own like skills. And I think without really knowing skin or doing this or that, I don't think she was. It just wasn't done well, And then luckily I was, like we were able to walk through it. That was a pretty fun story because I don't want to be known for cosmetic tattooing. That's not what I want to do. But I have no problem. Like if somebody asked me to do it, of course, yeah, I'll be there. But I don't want to advertise it.
When you go back to the beginning of your story, when you first started tattooing, did you tattoo did you go the classic route of like the apprenticeship and
Yes.
like having to draw all day long?
I call the apprenticeship the shit ladder. So I was 17. Basically, okay. I would say funny story with me actually getting into tattooing. I thought tattooing was a shit. I thought it was awesome. I thought everybody was like, tattoo guys were like so cool. Now that I am one, I'm like, we're losers. Not just kidding. I will. Anyway, but no, like so we got in.
How do you really feel?
No, tattooing's pretty cool, man. I like it a lot. Like it's a great job. It makes me feel great. But I remember also there was this guy Brian Voodoo Fuentes, and he was this Mexican cat from Texas, and so he was working in Hannibal, and I would consider myself a shop rat. Like so I would just hang out at the tattoo shop because I thought tattoo shops were cool, and then I guess it's someone that I was actually, trying to get in there. Like so, I was like, yeah, if you guys ever need any help, just let me know. And they're like, well, actually, we're looking for a female. And I'm like, well, that's sexist. And so, of course, went on. And then I came back and there was this gorgeous, gorgeous brunette walking. I'm saying like she was hot. And I'm a cocky, arrogant kid. And I thought I could get any girl. And of course, one's out in college. And I was like in my, whatever, sophomore, senior year in high school or junior year in high school. I don't even know. And I was like, yeah, I was talking to her, like trying like I was like cool. And I wasn't. I was stupid. And I was like, yeah, I was gonna get a job here, but they were looking for a female. Looks like you got it. And
Smooth, man.
Yeah, anything I could do, like she was a bombshell, man. And I didn't remember her name, but she was awesome. And she was like, oh, well, like I'm only here for the summertime. Have you ever thought about putting a portfolio together? And I was like, never even thought about it. Like I never. I didn't have a portfolio. I didn't even have a resume at the time. I was just, a kid, and I was like, I'll put a portfolio together. So yeah, I put a portfolio together from all my freshman year art classes. In high school, and I used to draw all these cartoons and such, and so I did like a little cartoon skit at the end and it was like, so when I was a kid, I used to draw myself I used to have this afro. And so it's funny at the end of the portfolio, it was a picture of me as a character with this giant afro, and it said, you want this.
But that is creative.
It was funny. And it was so funny. So I dropped off my portfolio and a resume, and I would say a couple months went by, and at this point I was like getting actually angry. I was like, oh, you guys got my stuff, and like blah blah blah. So I went in and I was like, listen, I want my portfolio back. You guys had it way too long. And they're like, oh, give us some time. And I think I got like a call 2 weeks later. I got hired. And it was quite funny because like my mom answered the phone. I think I was downstairs, and she was like, "Oh, there goes another dream of Eric's," like da da da. I was like, what? She was like, "You got the job," and I was like, "Deal." And then like, because it was so funny because like I was actually still teaching dance at the time too. So I don't know, I was back and forth, and yeah, so I pretty much chose tattooing as like this is it. That's when I got like, well, once I stopped dancing competitively for ballroom, that's when I was like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna get my throat tattooed. Boom. So, because I was like, there's a conversation with an old guy, and he's like, yeah, Willis, your shit's looking good. And I was like, when am I gonna tattoo you? He's like, I won't get tattooed by you. I was like, why not? He's like, getting a tattoo by you is like going to a dentist with no teeth. And I was like, oh. I was like, all right, check this out. So I got my throat tattoo. So I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm gonna do forever. I'm saying a lot.
Forever. Yeah.
So I'm curious now that it's your full-time thing, you do it on your terms. Clearly you can create your own schedule and leave it for as long as you'd like and know that you can come back to work. Do you have you paid attention to yourself in the sense of how do you schedule your day? I mean, do you take your time in the mornings, for instance? Do you know that you need breaks during a certain time?
I live a very, very structured life. Basically, in a sense, I would wake up at 8 o'clock, take my pre-workout at 8:30, poop 8:45, go to the gym at 9. Gym starts at 9:45 or 9:30. Basically, I finish up right around 10:30, head home, shower, eat, tattoo. And then depending on the day, depends on what I eat, depends on what food I got for the day, then I'll eat at 12 o'clock, eat at 3, 6, 9, damn she fine, let me suck it to you one more time. But every day is like very, very structured. So like, and it's funny, like some of the days where I don't even go to the gym, like my whole schedule is messed up. Like I don't eat breakfast at the right time. Like some days I don't even get to shower. Like I'm like, I'll like, oh, I got all this time. Then like next thing you know, you're like, fuck, you just put some deodorant on and brush your teeth and be on with it, So, but yeah, it's very. I mean, I'm a lot of tattoo artists are very like kind of. I'm not gonna say a lot, but like they don't care, like or whatever. Like I'm sure everybody has their own thing, but with me, it's very structured. I like the routine. I like the schedule. And because of that, like when I do take off, then I can just take off. But the only thing bad about that is you're just trying to keeping people happy, and trying to meet their needs, I guess, or the expectations of what I should be doing.
In keeping yourself going all day long, can you kind of give us a breakdown? Like, what kind of pre-workout are you taking? What are you eating? Then you say you eat before you go, and are you doing CrossFit every day?
Yeah,
you go to a CrossFit class every day?
I do CrossFit at Old Line CrossFit in Savannah Park. What up, guys? Great gym. Great instructors. Way better than all the other ones. Just kidding. That's awesome. No, I love the guys. CrossFit community is awesome. I know there are a lot of CrossFit haters out there. You can keep that to yourself, hater. Anyway,
did you surprise yourself with that one?
I don't fucking know. It's just stupid. No, but I don't know. Like pre-workout, I switched to pre-workout. It's I don't know. Basically, in a sense, I think every time I go to to GNC or whatever, like I'll get like different kinds. I think right now I'm using Shadow. I think which is like one of those thermo ones where it like makes you hot, makes you sweaty. And
you have any idea what's in this stuff that you're taking?
Nah, I don't care.
Right, GNC, the Wild Wild West.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can't be that. But basically, it's just like a lot of caffeine and some stuff. I mean, I wouldn't fucking know. I don't know. It's not like I read the instructions or labels.
But you take it, you take a shit, you get jacked up. You eat before you go to CrossFit?
No, I don't.
Right. Okay.
I like to call that what is that called?
Fasted
cardio. Fasted cardio.
Yeah, fasted cardio is good for not eating and walking.
Yeah. Well, basically, I've been doing CrossFit for a while. So when I was younger, back when I was back in Pennsylvania, I would actually eat beforehand. But at that time, it's very exhausting, and CrossFit can. I mean, if I eat beforehand, I have a good possibility of throwing up, and because I go hard, No, but it's like one of those things. Like you get into the class, depending on like what's in your system, I would always be dry heaving, or like depending on how hard you're going that day, like and you have like just some days where you're like kind of like schmucking it, like oh whatever, I'm just here to move. And then you have some days where you're like, oh yeah, fucking. It's like you're really going after it, and then you try to put it all out there. And honestly, I love it because like when you start your day off that crappy or that shitty, like you've already put it out there, like and then after that, like the rest of the day is like, oh, what do I have to do? Sit down? Yeah, I can do that. So I like CrossFit. And plus, it's a group activity too. Like if it was by myself, I wouldn't even be able to do. I wouldn't push myself nearly at all.
Well, yeah, the group keeps you going.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
Yeah, you all suffer together, so it's great.
So there's a couple questions from the group. One of which, as I read this from far away, I can relate to it in a way, and you'll, I'm sure, have something to say about this in regards to me. But I want to bring this one up. So this is from David Wilson in Pennsylvania. He says, I have awful skin. It's sensitive, but also covered in acne scars, including on my shoulders, where I'd like to get something done. Any advice? So I bring this up for myself because on one of our first tattoos,
scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, my skin reacted really badly to red. It was like a specific red ink.
Well, reds. Most people, if anything, most people get allergic to the red inks, reds, browns, and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember because I remember when I tattooed you, and the skin was orange peel. It looked excellent, and then within I guess 3 days, it just locked up, and it was just like, what? And
it was like open sores.
Yeah,
it was like open scabs.
Well, you're one of two people that I know that actually heal like that. Yeah. And my boy Dan Gladfelt in Pennsylvania as well. He's just like that. Like he's like a 1 or 2 pass type guy, and yeah, once you actually learn your clients, you know what I mean. Like with you, I was so flabbergasted with that because like the tattoo looked, I'm not saying oh I'm so good, but like when you do it and you're like, yeah, that's gonna heal good. And then you heal 3 days later, you're like, I was uber confident, everything would be great. And then it was just it really took the wind out of me. I was like, I don't know what I did wrong. You know what I mean? And
I don't think it was you. I think it was just the way my skin reacted.
Yeah, but I was like, oh my God, because you sit there and everything you do, everything that I do, the proof's in the pudding. You know what I mean? So whatever tattoo, the funny thing is when you talk about good products and bad products, you do a good tattoo. You'll tell 10 people, 15 people, you mess up somebody's tattoo. Can you believe this? You know what I mean? I'm fucking telling everybody.
Right.
I couldn't, and it's a lot of stressful. I mean, it's a one and done thing. You know what I mean? So you can fix things, yes, but the initial shock value is oh God, what the hell,
But we worked around that. I mean, I have other probably that same red. I have that all over different parts of my tattoos. We figured that out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I had to tattoo you differently too as well, because I had to tattoo you at a higher amperage than I would normally tattoo other people.
So with that in mind, with someone who does have bad acne or something like that, is that something that you would tell them to?
No, you can get it done. You can get it done. Basically, in a sense, what I would say to that, the only question I would have to really ask would be how often does the acne come back up? Is it a constant thing, or you're just dealing with scars from when you were a child? The scars are there. They will swell up more, but after the tattoo's healed, you'd be good to go. It's definitely good at hiding blemishes in your skin. You know what I mean? The ink can do a lot for that. Unfortunately, if you're prone to get a lot of acne still, the pimples can come up and it will take away the color that's in that area. So that's something you have to be prepared for. So
cool.
But so go at it. Don't be afraid by it. If you want it, just get it done.
So David, if you're listening, go for it. Don't hold back. So I have a question for you, and it's something that I've been curious about. We've touched on it before, and maybe this is a deep topic. And you and I have had this conversation, not even in direct relation to you and me, but it definitely is something that I think about when you and I work together. But we've talked about this just in regards to other people, because through tattooing, you've made a lot of friends. You and I became friends because, you know where I'm going with this. You and I became friends initially because we had all this time together. You were working on me. And at some point, there's this, I think, what feels like for me and probably feels like for you, there's this awkward balance of, okay, one, we're friends. Two, there's a working relationship. I like being friends, but I also want to work with you. And I know you have a lot of friends like that. And there's a lot of people that you are now friends with. So how do you, as the tattoo artist, manage that balance?
It's tricky because
Does that make sense though?
Yeah, it's very tricky, especially when you view. I don't know. I still have friends, and like I remember back in the day when I used to tattoo, and this is like way back when. I mean, I would do tattoos for a case of beer and pizza, and I'm like, and those were some of the best times in a sense. Like you just sit there and be like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna drink some beer, fucking do some pizza, do some cool stuff." All right, like that. Like but that at that time, that's all I needed. It's quite amazing because as the older you get, the less you need beer and pizza, and the more you need money because life's expensive. But it's hard to manage it because you have some people that have been like, oh, I've known you for 15 years, like I've known you, and it's like for instance, like the thing where I just did that deposit thing, like online, like, oh hey guys, if you want to I'm gonna be away for a few months, but if you want to be like on the force on the list when I get back. Put down some deposits and, you be good to go. And I've had so many clients being like, have I ever not shown up for a tattoo? And it's like, well, I'm just saying, like, because when I get back, it's going to be a mishmash of shit. So if you want to be on the list to be in front of it all, put some money down. But, everybody has different ideas of how they should be treated. It is tricky because, obviously I want to be friends with a lot of people. I want people to like me. I want people to be like, yeah, man, he's a cool dude. Small dick, but whatever. Just kidding. It's huge. Just kidding. No, but like obviously, so you want like the relationships. You want like the like when you see people out, it's like like I want the hugs, I want the haze. Like I want but it's tricky though too because like it does have to be professional. But I think one thing that I have realized over time is it is a temporary. It's a temporary thing. As in to the point is like I'm there for a specific reason. Like you do a sleeve and you become such good friends with somebody, and it's like, and it's kind of bittersweet at the same time because you're really stoked on like all the work that you're doing. But once that sleeve's done, it's just like the last chapter in a book. It's put aside. And, and then like, I think the funny thing is like, so like I have to constantly remind myself like that, like, even though, yes, we like seem like we are friends and now this obviously isn't towards you or anything, but it's like to clients and it's like, yes, we are this and yes, we are that. But at the same time, you're using me for a specific skill. You're using me for a specific trait. And actually, I was talking to one of my other friends, Chris Ullman. And so he's a videographer and he does a lot of stuff. He does awesome work. I love him to death. And we were talking about one thing, and so he told me this story about Pablo Picasso, and I don't even know if it's true or not, but it made a lot of sense. And it was so funny. So he's at this dinner party, and they're like, John, and this woman came up. She was like, oh, hey, Pablo, like, can you draw me a picture on this napkin? And so he's like, sure, whatever. Takes 5 minutes. I don't know. Pablo Picasso sucked, so I don't give a fuck. Like he was like, he probably drew a horse or some shit with like square fucking legs and no hooves. You're like, that's fucking hard. Anyway, sorry, Pablo. Anyway, so he like draws this picture for this woman, and she like reaches her hand out for it, and he was like, that'd be $30,000. And it was funny because I never even thought about this, and like when we had this conversation, and then like, and she was like, but it only took you 5 minutes. He was like, you saw 5 minutes. It took me 30 years to get here.
It's funny. I heard this exact story the other day,
and I like it was funny because like I don't want to be greedy, I want to be fair, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like I've dedicated a lot of my time for this. I've made a lot of sacrifices for this, and I think that's something that a lot of, I think if you're independent or if you're like anything, the road to the top is a lonely one. I know that's fucking so cliche, but like the higher up you go, the lonelier it becomes, and I don't know. That's I think for people like that want to start tattooing or want to do anything, like a lot of people see it as this like glamorous lifestyle, like oh well blah blah blah, and it's like you never saw that. You never saw like my my ex, she was like, oh you got it so fucking easy. It's like I was doing this for 14 years. Like it took me 14 years to build this up, and now I've been tattooing for shit like I don't know 18 years now. I've been tattooing for half my life. It's weird now because like when I tattoo these like little kids, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well you know my uncle, or you know like this and that, like that's how I got you." And I was like, "So I remember this one time I was tattooing this kid named Brett, and his age was funny because he's like, oh, how old are you? He's like 20, and I was like, oh shit. And then you're tattooing, and you're like 20 minus 20. I've been tattooing since you were 6.
Yeah.
Wow. And,
Yeah.
you think about it. Now you got like kids that are like they weren't even kids before you're tattooing. It's kind of like I don't know. It's weird. Just the thought process of it. Like I never dreamed of tattooing this long, and now I'm just like, got to keep going. I mean, I don't know. I'm super happy with it. Now I'm just like, how long can it go? I'll go till my hands shake. I'll go till my eyes go out. I don't care.
Well, you should.
Yeah.
I mean, and you keep getting better.
Yeah, I try.
You do.
But it's progression. You have to.
You have to, right? And you practice every day.
Well, you see a lot of artists. I think it's funny because like a lot of the old heads or whatever. They're like, oh, I've been tattooing for 20 plus years, blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, that's crazy because it looks the same.
Right. Well, you got to push yourself, right?
Not to talk shit, but I'm just saying, like a lot of people they
Just being honest.
They hit that plateau, and then they don't battle and they don't excel. They don't do anything, and they're like. I think that's happens with a lot of people. Like once you actually start making money, you get comfortable in that money that you make, and you're like, well, shit, man, life's great. This is all I ever wanted. But they never really saw past the clouds. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you just I don't know, just got to keep on going with it.
But in
Challenge
that sense, I think you are a risk taker in that you're trying new things, you're trying new gear, you're trying new techniques. I think no one client is alike, right?
Oh no, not at all.
Even down to different skin.
Oh, that's a huge difference.
And you get pushed into new territories all the time. So obviously you keep getting better. So that's what is great to see about your progression and about the fact that you've been doing this 18 years, but it's not like you've been doing it stale.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I don't think you've plateaued at all. I know that you see you look and you go into other tattoo shops, you look and follow other tattoo artists, I would imagine, and you see shit that they do. And there's people that, just like me, watching other drummers, or Justin in his field, Jordan in his field, we watch people all the time. We're like, damn, like, I got to get there.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get to that. I want to get to that.
I always think it's funny, like, when you think about, like, everybody has an idea of, like, well, just how you said, like, okay, you see that, and be like, I want to be like that guy, or I want to be like that. And it's always funny, like we should never limit ourselves to our heroes' accomplishments. You know what I mean? Or better yet, their failures. You're like, oh, well, it didn't work for Einstein, so like it would never work with me. Like, and I was like, screw that. Honestly, like if you're thinking about it, you should constantly try to excel to that level. And then once you're at that level, not to say step on them, but like surpass it. I see a lot of people when I pedal past them. You know what I mean? So it's like you can either show the way, lighten it up. You know what I mean? Just like get there and then proceed on. So they lit the way for you. Now you light the way for them. It's one of my favorite lines is like, if all the trees in the forest can grow tall together, why can't we? You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to just do it.
Sure. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. In the past, 10 minutes, man, you've shared a lot, especially for
I ramble, so I'm sorry.
No, but what my point is that you've shared a lot that was valuable, especially to the majority of people paying attention to this right now. A lot of people paying attention to us are creatives, and money and owning your value and being able to articulate and ask for what you're worth. That's a real struggle for artists in particular. And I think hearing that you have this awareness and this confidence in not only your expertise based on how long you've been doing it, but the fact that you hold yourself to a high standard and you look to others that are doing it at a high level and have this expectation of yourself. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, you're able to communicate that to the customer.
I think it's funny. I think a lot of times as artists and just in general, I think a lot of people try to take advantage of the situation. If you look at any major companies, okay, I'm not gonna say any names, but companies so you have corporations, you have employees and you have this and you have that, and it's all a number game. You know what I mean? Now, if you have a successful number and you got a ripe young kid fresh out of college, they'll take the lower position. You know what I mean? And basically, in a sense, nobody really plans on this. Like they'll walk you till you no longer walk anymore, and it doesn't matter because like in the next 4 years, on the next year, you have graduating seniors come out, and then they're like, oh well, you don't want to do it? Fine, I got this girl. She just came out. She's willing to do anything, and we're willing to do so much. And then you got to get to the point too, like as an artist, like okay, oh well, they don't want to give me this. I was like, all right, we fuck off then. Like you need this. Like this is your job. This is your everything. Like so your everything. It's a judge of character as well. I believe. You know what I mean? Like it's like all right, well you should know what you should give. Oh, what is it? I'm not sure if I should knock down your door or on it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you put yourself in a position. And you could tap on a window, you could throw a rock through a window, or you could open it. You know what I mean? And it's so many times like, I don't know. It's just like you have to know what you're worth, what you value yourself at, and if you're not willing to give yourself, or just the idea of believing, like we have so many different things to believe in this world, and it's unfortunate that most people don't believe in themselves, and they leave themselves in that position where it's like, oh well, I wish I could, but no, you can. But you know what I mean? Like so like go.
What do you believe in?
As in what? There's a lot.
In general, just like having the experience that you've had in this life, it's a very unique one relative to the average human being.
I would have to say, whatever you want to do. I mean, obviously life has a lot of phases. So, and none of them last forever. So do it until you're done with it, and then find the next step. Like if for instance, if you want to talk about failure, like failure is one of the biggest keys to success. So if like the band Vinny Vegas, then I was like, failure is key to succeed or something like that. That was a pretty good line. But I don't know, like do something until you're no longer satisfied doing it. And then pick the next thing, and then do something and do that until you no longer want to do it or feel the need to do it, or finding purpose. Like what's the main goal? What's the end goal? Like what are you even doing it for? You have to constantly ask yourself that times. I have to ask myself all the time too as well. It's like, oh well, why am I walking? Like I don't need to walk 7 days a week, but why? It's like, all right, well, nobody else is gonna be able to do this. No, there's nobody else but you. Might as well keep it like. And I don't have a family with kids, but like I have my friends have kids, my brothers have kids. I want them to see like, well, shit, Uncle Eric did this. Fuck yeah, I did. So can you? So whatever. That was like a figurative speech that I had with my kids.
No, that was great.
Uncle Eric did it.
I think that's great, and it's nice to hear this from you because I don't know if it's been as profound in the conversations we've had before as it has been the way that you've expressed it today. And it's been a bit since you and I have had like a deep conversation. Typically, that occurs when you're fucking hurting me for the sake of artwork. But it's nice to hear this stuff for sure. And I mean that in particular, I think that's a good place for us to kind of wind this down. Honestly, that hopefully to our listeners, you took that not with a grain of salt. Take that seriously because you can do what you want to do.
And don't listen to the education system.
We could talk about that for another hour.
I know. I could just roll, yeah.
So as we start to close this down, I would acknowledge a couple questions from the Facebook group.
Okay.
So one, with Elishon from Cincinnati, we touched on the topic of just you meeting and working with friends. But Elishon and also I think you pronounce Werner from the Netherlands are both asking, do you have a most memorable or favorite experience or tattoo?
Ooh. Favorite tattoo?
That you've given. Or the experience of providing the service of a tattoo.
Hands down, the first thing that comes to mind is a boy named Mark Wilson. Mark Wilson is like some type of accountant guy. He lives in Wisconsin now. So what we tattooed on Mark was, I guess, the brig or the rig. It was a treehouse. And I'll always remember this tattoo because I like emotional tattoos, and that was something from his like childhood and everything. But so we did a tattoo of the treehouse. We did this whole like from knee down sleeve, and under the treehouse it said "Don't forget your roots." And to me, that was awesome. And we also tattooed a dartboard on him. And then we went to the bar. And then I beat him in darts, which was a bad experience. So I can't hate that at all. But yeah, that'll always be a memorable tattoo for me. I enjoy that.
It's funny. I thought you were going to say the Mark Ryden tattoos.
Oh, yeah, that meat show. Yeah, that's on Seth. He's a good dude. I haven't seen him in ages. See?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. Also, Mark Wilson also has a lot of MC Escher pieces, which is extremely difficult to tattoo. But yeah, he's got a lot of cool stuff. I like him. He's a good dude. Go to his wedding next year.
That's cool that you can recall that out of everybody you've worked with to so quickly have something like that. That's great.
Well, it's a question that's asked often, but like hands down, like when it comes to it, it's like, you know, like the treehouse tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like there's no place you'd rather be. Actually, out of student loans and treehouse homes, I think we'd all choose the latter.
Oh, there you go.
21
Pilots. Yep.
It's always in my head, man. Just gets constantly.
That's right. You're welcome.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool, man. I think this kind of brings us to the end of the conversation.
Oh, yeah?
Good work, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you guys for having me,
First
man.
one
That's
in the
awesome.
books.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Do you typically do press in any sort of way to promote your business?
No, I haven't even had business calls in over 10 years.
But the work speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, like, not that. I mean, it's just word of mouth too as well. But, you know, like, I don't know. I don't do much press. I mean, I have a simple Facebook page. I do the Instagram thing. I just try and keep up with it, you know, keep pushing. There's a lot of people out there. So it's like, gotta, you know, I just enjoy it, you know. So, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming over and thanks for sharing your story.
No problem at all. No problem at all.
So it is Drilled by Willis on Facebook and Instagram, correct? Okay,
Yep.
so that's where the listeners from all over the world can connect with you, and especially just to see the artwork that you're doing.
Definitely. Yep.
Through your tattoo artistry.
I will have to say most of the newer posts would be on the Instagram because it's easier to load. So that'd be good.
Awesome. So this brings us, my friends, to the close of episode 44 of the Chocolate Croissants podcast. As always, we are very grateful of your support, of your attention. It truly means a lot to us. If you found value in this episode, if you found enjoyment in this episode, we have, 43 other episodes if this is your first time stopping in with us. The easiest way to do it, open up your podcast app, search Chocolate Croissants, and hit the subscribe button. That way, every late Sunday night, early Monday morning, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, it will automatically download. That way, when you take the commute to work or go to the gym, you don't have to use any data to listen to these episodes. Also, iTunes, that's where you can rate and review Chocolate Croissants. That helps us a lot and puts us in front of eyeballs that typically wouldn't be aware of what we're doing over here. Lastly, the Facebook group. We had a bunch of people, dude, all the way from the Netherlands asking Eric Willis some questions tonight.
I do tattoos of people from Norway. That's cool.
There we go. I think we have some people from Norway too over there.
Yeah, we do.
It's truly an international community at the Chocolate Croissants Facebook group. Join us. It's private. That way, the conversations can be, I think, more engaging. But if you're interested, Chocolate Croissants at facebook.com/groups/Chocolate Croissants. We will accept you. And as I said earlier, there's like almost 1,600 people in there. And it's been cool.
It's pretty sweet.
Every
Thank you,
day,
guys. Thank you.
things are going on in there. That's it. 45 is next week. That seems like a nice round number. We're getting close to 50.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. I think next week, if we can line it up time-wise, I think we're going to have Matt Rosenblum, who is Periphery's tour manager, works with bands like The Used and Seyasin and a whole bunch of other people. He's got some great experience. And he has a great tattoo of, I don't know if he wants me to share this, but fuck it, of Ben Weinman from the Dillinger Escape Plan. He has his face tattooed on his leg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good one. And he's got some other funny ones. I think he's got something on his ass, too.
Holy shit. So the first thing I would want to ask him is it Seosin or is it Seoshin?
Seyasin. I can tell you that.
We will dig into that in episode 45. I have my reasons. Matthew, thank you for coming over. Justin, thank you for coming over. Eric Willis, Drilled by Willis, thank you for coming over.
No problem at all. Thank you.
And to you listening to episode 44, we thank you as well. This is the end. Oh, by the way, shout out to Reckless Steve. What a fucking guy, right?
Aye.
He really puts the Steve in Reckless Steve.
I think you, instead of a bye-bye tonight, you should bid them a do-do.
No.
We'll see you guys in the Facebook group and here next week on episode 45. Until then, I bid you a do and a bye-bye. Whoa, false alarm. Jordan, one last time, very briefly, because I want to give some love to Nata Tattoo. They came back as a sponsor and will be for the next few episodes. And we find it very gratifying to meet companies and people out in the world that we respect and to find that they find value in what we do here at Chocolate Croissants, enough to throw up some money to partner with us. Full disclosure, all the money that we receive is invested right back into this project. And right now, the big initiatives for us are building and launching a new website and getting everything onto YouTube. This takes time, this takes money, and that's why we are doing this. Nata Tattoo, they are a great company, and I'd kindly encourage you to check them out online. URL nat-a-tat and the number 2.com, or simply Google them. And if you find any interest in their products, then use chocolate25, chocolate in all caps, followed by the numbers 25 at checkout for 25% off anything at the Nata Tattoo website. One last time, I want to thank Eric Willis. He was a very engaging, funny, and inspiring guest. Drilled by Willis is his deal online as well. So Nata Tattoo, Drilled by Willis, and hey, Rode Microphones, much love to them as well. Check them all out online. We will see you in the Facebook group and next week on the podcast app of your choice. Until then, for the final time, bye-bye.